The Warriors were able to overcome a hostile crowd, an overwhelming opponent, and a confidence problem to even this series at 2 games apiece. And while there were plenty of positives Coach Ime Udoka could take away from this epic game, the image of Steph Curry darting and weaving and splashing and heaving from all over the court will no doubt give him nightmares, as we were treated to one of the all-time greatest finals performances we've ever seen. The Celtics started out with such force to begin the game, it truly felt like they'd run away with it and end the game in the first half. Boston continued to be the skip pass gang, utilizing the long distance pass to create advantages and attack closeouts, as they catch Klay Thompson not paying enough attention to Jason Tatum spotting up on the left wing, as Marcus Smart skips again, and Tatum gets just enough room to knock this down for an early lead. And when Marcus Smart ripped Steph Curry at half court, it felt like TD Garden was going to levitate, as this 4-on-2 break gets them another Tatum 3 for a 7-point lead not even 3 minutes into the game. But Steph Curry was not going to let that happen. Just look at his on-off effect on the offense, and head coach Steve Kerr knew he wasn't going to be able to sit Curry for much more than a few minutes of game time. Early on, they attack Robert Williams in the pick and roll way up at half court, and Smart almost picks Curry again, but he's able to coax just a little bit of contact out of Smart on the way up to get himself going from the free throw line. The Celtics used Tatum as a ball screener to try to force Curry to switch onto him. However, Klay doesn't communicate he wants to stay on Tatum, giving Smart a free run to the hoop. Perfect rotation over from Draymond and sink by Porter, and Klay closed out to the corner. Smart should have thrown the lob here. Instead, he takes 2 more steps, allowing Draymond to close the gap and deflect it. Now we've got a post route from Curry, who doesn't let Tatum catch up as he stretches out to flip it in off the glass. Off another turnover, Horford is stuck having to pick up Curry. There was just enough time for Jaylen Brown to sneak in there and stop the ball. This should have been a chance for the Celtics to get a second defender on him, but instead, Curry hits him with his patented shuffle step back. Now, was this a travel? Let's examine. The right foot is down when he ends the dribble by touching it with both hands. This is the gather step. The next step he takes becomes his pivot foot. That never moves, as he's legally allowed to lift the gather step and put it back down before jumping into the shot. Perfect. This is where they went a little Horford hunting, as Curry calls forth his man Wiggins to set a ball screen. Brown goes under the screen, and Horford is in pretty good position until the little step back gets Curry a sliver of daylight to splash from 30 feet. At this point, Curry is ready to take on the entire Celtics crowd, and the lift this gave his teammates was palpable. We can't quite see how this sideline out of bounds play began, unfortunately, but it's weird to me that Curry isn't commanding any extra attention from the help defenders earlier. Robert Williams does get over there with a great contest, but I want you to understand how difficult this runner was. He's dealing with the little bump from White. He then has to stop his momentum and go straight up as Williams is getting close. There's a double pump here, and then check where he hits this ball off the backboard at the absolute very top just to get it over Williams' hand before it drops clean through. Easily one of the hardest shots to make in basketball. Steph Curry has definitely been making good use of the isolation play, or ISO, and sometimes using all these abbreviations can make breaking down basketball hard to follow. But I've got another abbreviation to discuss with you, ED. If you're familiar with what those 2 letters stand for, I'm here to tell you there's a way to treat it by visiting Roman, the digital health clinic for men. While we talk all about balls on this channel, your Magic Johnson is just as important since you want to be ready for every occasion. 52% of men will experience ED, but don't let that get in the way of penetrating to get to the hole so you can score. And if you click on GetRoman.com/bball, you'll get a free online evaluation and $15 off your first month of ED treatment, all from the comfort and privacy of your own home. So click on the link below and start bouncing on that hard wood. Curry is one of the better rebounding guards in the game, and every one of his 10 boards was important, but look what his mere presence on the court does to a defense. Smart is completely out of position in order to lock and chase around a potential pin down from Wiggins, but when the shot goes up, Smart completely disengages, allowing Curry to not only snare the rebound, but he's powerless to stop the step through for the easy layup. It's Horford hunting time again, as they quickly set an inside ball screen with his man, but when Steph rejects the screen to the baseline, there is simply no way Horford can keep up. I like how Curry uses his body to cut him off, and a quick release off the one gets this layup in without any contest for fear of fouling. If you're wondering why they felt they could attack Horford, let's just look at some of the other pick and rolls they've gotten from earlier in the season. While Horford has played well in this series, this is a significant Achilles heel for the Celtics defense, and if they can adjust this better, by doubling Curry for instance, then I fear it will be the reason the Celtics lose the finals. On the out-of-bounds play, they run a split with Klay and Curry, and Steph gets away with a travel coming around the handoff. Right foot is the gather step, left foot is the pivot, and then he lifts it before releasing the ball into a dribble. Brown was late switching off of Klay and onto Looney, and then is late needing to switch onto the ball. Steph senses the contact and quick releases this runner up and out and into the hoop, but I want you to understand how hard this shot was. He's jumping off the right foot and shooting with his right hand through contact with incredibly soft touch. However, the Celtics had taken firm control of this game by halftime as Derek White got aggressive in transition with the nice spin move to attack Curry and get the and one. But watch this clever offense. White shows a pin down for Tatum, who then quickly turns it into a pin down for White. Wiggins doesn't get the memo to switch, leaving Derek wide open for the triple as Curry can't believe it and neither can Juwan Morgan. So Steve Kerr finally got out his old playbook and ran what used to be their bread and butter, the low post split, ripped right from the triangle offense. The passer sets the screen for the guard out top, who comes around for the easy pass and easy shot, except Curry made this into a bank shot from about 20 feet. The key is to make sure the ball is on its way down before it hits the board, and this is practically an homage to Sam Jones and the Boston Celtics, who also used this play as a staple, with Jones being the king of the bank shot. The Warriors run it again on the other side of the floor, and perhaps because they hadn't run it a lot, the Celtics defense wasn't prepared for it. Looney screens for Curry, and the best way to defend it is to have Williams step up to stop the shot. That doesn't happen, and Curry can make this one in his sleep. Golden State started to close the gap, and with Horford on the bench, they targeted Robert Williams in the pick and roll. White doesn't get around the screen clean, Williams doesn't have a hand up, so Curry utilizes a hop to quick release. Remember, for a righty going to his left, it's an easier shot since the right hip and elbow are already aligned to the hoop, as Curry drops this one clean through. Curry is upset there wasn't a foul, but Derek White didn't do anything with his defense to merit a whistle. They wasted no time going after Horford as soon as he checked in, and while he gets both feet above the three-point line waiting for Steph, he then stays low, gets a hand up way too late, and was giving too much space on this 33-footer, plus Tatum runs into his back, makes clear contact, and yet the refs don't call this. I'd be pissed if I were Steph too. Not to sound like a broken record, but they bring Horford up into the pick and roll again. And here's why Al doesn't want to get up in Curry's face to prevent the three-point shot, as Curry can easily blow by him every time. It's the Warriors' chance to use the skip pass to generate a wide-open corner three, but Payton declines the invitation, and Steph continues to remind us how well he moves off-ball, catching Grant Williams asleep for a few steps, and that's all Curry needs to sidestep and hop into another three-ball before Tatum could react. Deep in the fourth, the game is as tight as it can be, and it just didn't seem possible Curry could squeeze any more magic out of the ball. Smart almost gets the steal by knocking it out of Curry's hands, which allows him to resume dribbling, to the dismay of this Celtics coach, who is actually using the wrong signal. It would have been a double dribble. But anyway, Smart gets tripped by Looney's foot. I guess this is deemed as incidental contact, but Williams is at least there to stop the ball, and he keeps his left hand up to dissuade the shot. However, look at his positioning, practically asking Steph to get right by him, and another runner that's a lot harder than he made it look, taking off from outside the lane at the elbow before dropping it straight in. Clinging to a three-point lead, Kerr tells his troops to get up the floor fast and attack. And while Draymond was having one of the worst games of his career, he gets to an advantageous part of the floor, at the free throw line. White is in good position, but watch how Steph cuts to the wing. He lifts both feet and drops into a split to explode and get a step on White, who can't stop and change direction fast enough before Curry casually drops in his seventh three-pointer to give them some breathing room. Steph finishes off this game by catching the Celtics desperate to pressure in the backcourt. Brown ends up on his wallet while Curry is getting to the hoop, and while I thought this call could have been overturned on the Celtics challenge, the review upheld the call as Horford drifted into him too much. And I think it's time to put to rest this ridiculous myth that Steph Curry hasn't played very well in all of his NBA finals. In this series alone, through the first 4 games of an NBA Finals, no one has ever shot as well as he has while averaging over 30 a game. Plus, for his career, the only players to average over 27 a game, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists with a true shooting percentage over 55% are Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Steph Curry. Enough with all this talk that he doesn't come through in the finals, all because he hasn't won a finals MVP. Well, I can tell you this, if the Warriors take Game 5 at home, as I'm sure they'll be favored to, then Steph Curry will be hoisting that MVP trophy high above his head.